This year in June, one of my clients came to me completely stuck on Instagram. He was making well over 6 figures a month from his YouTube channel, and he was very well known in his space, which is Facebook ads. However, his Instagram was completely dead. He hasn't posted in months, and if he did post something, it was like some memes or something like that related to his industry and nothing else. And he was literally convinced that the algorithm hated him, he couldn't get views, and he was cursed when it comes to Instagram, which is why he was only focusing on YouTube and leaving so much money on the table on Instagram. Fast forward literally just 30 days, we managed to get him back up from not posting at all, 0 views, to getting 500,000 views in the first 30 days and booking 2 calls and getting 1 sale in just the first 11 days. And in this video, I'm going to break down the exact system that I used for this client that generated him an extra $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And you will be able to literally apply this in your own business as well. So let's get right into it. Now, like I said, before working with this client, he was barely posting any content on his page. And like I said, if he was posting anything, that was usually just memes related to his industry. And if one of the memes did well, he would just boost it, put more money into it, and he would eventually get, a few leads here and there. Nothing consistent, nothing serious. And so I thought, just like with any other account that, hasn't been posting in months, to test out the waters, I started posting, lifestyle content and very broad type of content. This is usually the content that is, just super general advice. It applies to everybody and anybody, family, life lessons, all that kind of stuff. And to be fair, that kind of worked. We were getting very good amounts of attention. However, there was one big issue that we were experiencing right after, which is this client came to me with the feedback that we're not getting any leads. We have to pivot. And that is the first lesson that I'm going to give you in this video. Views are absolutely cool, but if you have no system to convert them, it is absolutely useless. And if you're just relying on posting lifestyle content, you are literally going to die out as a creator and a business owner. Because if you're just posting lifestyle content, again, there's no shame and nothing wrong with posting lifestyle content, but if that's the only thing you're relying on and there's no value in your content, you are going to attract nobody but broke leads, teenagers, and in general people who just want to make a quick buck, and they're not even professional, they're not serious, they're most likely not intelligent, and they don't have any integrity. They literally don't have the basics, the basic fundamentals of what it takes to be a successful person. So a general rule of thumb is that when you're coming up, you should be posting around 20% lifestyle and 80% value videos. But when you genuinely have a lifestyle, you can switch that around, and then maybe you could be posting, 40% lifestyle and then 60% value. But again, still, value should always outweigh your lifestyle. And lifestyle isn't something you should be forcing. It should just be something you actually live, and it happens to be caught on camera. It shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be fake. It shouldn't be like, I rent a car on that day and I schedule a photo shoot. That's forced, that's faked, it's not authentic. If you're doing lifestyle content, it should be authentic and actual lifestyle content showing the life you actually live. So once we realized that a lifestyle content and life lesson content wasn't converting, we took a look at Nick's YouTube and saw what we could improve. There was a ton of marketing lessons, valuable materials on his YouTube that he was sharing, that there was just no need, at least not yet, to script any content. We could just take some valuable content from his YouTube and post it onto his Instagram, which is exactly what we did. So we started repurposing very valuable and often social proof and result-driven content to his Instagram. And actually one of the very first videos that we tried out using this new method, using this new strategy of going at value, was a video of him talking about how he scaled this particular client who was very well known to $2 million per month with his Facebook ad strategies. That video blew up. We got around 100,000 views organically. Then he boosted it as an ad, and we got hundreds of those ManyChat comment leads. Not only that, but from that one single video, he got 2 very qualified booked calls in his calendar and 1 mentorship sale for his high-ticket mentorship. And that one reel was literally the proof that we were on the right path. We were doing something correct, and we just need to double down on that. And that one single reel became the framework for all the future reels that, were to come. And this is a big takeaway. If you are only posting lifestyle content, this is proof that you need to double down on valuable content, because people need to see you as an authority. They need to see you as somebody who actually knows their stuff, and people can sense it. You can't just come on a camera and fake it. People will sense if you know your shit based on how you speak and how you articulate yourself and how you carry yourself. And it's literally just simple math. If you show your proof, you show people that you know what you're doing, and you give them enough free value to the point where they can apply it and see results from it, you're going to put people in a value depth, and you're going to show them with your free resources that you can generate them results. Obviously, they're going to come and reach out to you and be like, I want to work with you because you've just made them progress for absolutely free, and you've shown a ton of proof, and you've been doing it for other people. We knew it works, and we were going to stick with it. I mean, stick with it. Because the dumbest thing is, you can do is like, when you have something working, is you just like, okay, that was luck, let's go into the next idea. No, you double down on it. So what we did next is we took that one idea, which is essentially like, what was the premise of that entire video? It was a case study. It was us showing this client working, getting amazing results for their own client, and then breaking down how they did it. And so again, we took that one single idea and we scripted a bunch of new reels that he went and filmed separately. And so from those reels that got generated from that one single video, we got maybe 5 winner videos that went on to generate even more leads, hundreds of leads that we could sit down and talk to in the DMs. So every single video we posted had a purpose. It was either attracting new people, it was either nurturing people, or converting them. However, posting the videos is not enough, and having this little comment CTA automation is also not enough. Clearly, we needed to have somebody in the DMs actually talking to these people, qualifying them, and booking them on a calendar. And that is exactly who we had on the team, and he did a pretty good job. However, and this is actually where the big problem started. So we had limitations upon limitations. To put it into perspective, how limited we were and the setter was, and the sales team in particular. So in the time span of around 2 months, we gained around 2,000 followers for Nick. And these are very high quality followers. 7-8 figure entrepreneurs, very credible people. And we also generated about 1,000 or so leads from the ManyChat comment automations. So in total, we had about 3,000 people that we could have started conversations with and booked them on a calendar. However, there was this one limitation on ManyChat in particular that we just couldn't get over. And the reason the setter had to operate from ManyChat is because the client had the certain belief that if he gets anybody logged into the account, he's going to get banned, which, by the way, is obviously not true. I have a bunch of my friends who run their own setting agencies, and they get so many people. They manage 30 clients at once, and they probably have multiple setters on those accounts. Nothing happens. However, the client had that belief, and you can't really argue it. If a client is uncomfortable with something, you have to let it pass, and you have to find ways around it. And we did, kind of. We used ManyChat. The setter in particular was logged into ManyChat, and he was talking to people this way. However, ManyChat has a very, very awful restriction where you cannot message people first, which pretty much, if we could have done warm out, again, 3,000 conversations could have been made. But even with all these limitations, we were still able to generate him well over $15,000 in new monthly recurring revenue. However, this is what we would have done if we had more access and less limitations. This is what could have potentially made us 10x the results we already made. And I want you to follow this very thoroughly, because I'm going to show you the exact process that, like I said, we literally had 3,000 conversations in our disposal if we didn't have these limitations. So if you follow this system, you will be able to take advantage of 3,000 conversations. Now, I'm not saying that you in particular are going to get 3,000 conversations, but we did using this system. So if you apply it, you may get it depending on the person you are and how you execute the systems. Nothing is guaranteed. This is what we did. This is what worked for us. And this is how I would have improved it. So I'm giving it all to you, and let's jump right into it. So here we are on my PC right here, and I'm going to show you exactly what we would have done differently if we could in order to generate 10x the revenue that we have generated for this particular client. So the first step here is audit your content. You have to clearly audit your content, your past content, to see exactly
what is working, what is not working, and how can we improve it. Step number 1 is review your last 10 posts. Are they just entertaining, or are they also selling? Are they positioning you as an authority? Are they moving people closer to actually buying from you? Now, here's how you can know whether your videos are actually just entertaining pieces of content or actually valuable pieces of content that position you as an authority and move people closer to buying from you. And the easiest way to find it out is if they could be applied to anyone, they're too broad. Now, I'm not saying that having videos are too broad is bad. They're really good at bringing up your brand awareness, which you need at the start. However, if you're actually trying to put yourself as an authority, or you've built up some, attention, brand awareness, people know about you, but now you're trying to build up authority and, value and let people know that you actually know what you're doing. If your videos are too broad and they can be applicable to everyone, they're probably not good. You have to make every single video literally a problem-solving piece of content. Like, how do you know if a video is good if it solves one specific problem? If somebody comes to you with a problem, and instead of having to explain to them how to solve that problem, you can just send a link to your video that you made and be like, hey, watch this, it's gonna fix it. That is how you know you solved a problem. That is how you know you have an authoritative, valuable, piece of content that's going to move people closer to buying, because you're literally solving problems. I had this the other day. A guy came to me. He was like, hey dude, I'm experiencing this problem. And I'm like, at that time I was just making a video on how to solve that literal problem. Not only making the video on how I solved that problem, I was making a video on how I already solved that problem for a client already. And so I just sent him the link to that video. I was like, hey, watch it. He was like, that's literally all I wanted. So your videos need to be so specific that you could literally send them to a friend as a guide, as an SOP on how to solve a problem. That's how you know you have very good pieces of content. Step 2, and this is the easiest way to get content out, is you need to repurpose your content. So we had this particular client that we were working with in February, who's totally different client to this one. He was posting long form content and he's gotten a lot of success. He's in the copywriting niche. He's gotten like 80,000 followers or something like that with YouTube in a very short amount of time. And he had 6 months worth of content on long form just sitting there, not generating any extra leads. Of course, it was generating leads, but it wasn't being squeezed out of its potential. And so we came in and we actually started repurposing the content that he filmed months ago. And what happened is we ended up getting around 250 leads out of only 5 short form videos. That's average. If you put time and effort into creating a piece of content, you want to use that and you want to actually squeeze out as much value as you can off of it. That's just the most logical thing to do, but most people don't do it. And this is what we were able to do. Most people think of it as like clipping, it's like clipping, WAP, blah, blah, blah. But no, you actually call it very meaningful repurposing, where you can take a piece of long form content that's very valuable, it's problem solving, and you can publish it out there and you can squeeze it out, but you need to use it correctly. Most people just use it like they use it on WAP clipping, and that's a waste of time, waste of potential. And obviously focus on proof and value. That always wins. Step 3 is post every single day. This is undeniable. Consistency builds momentum, and you need both. At the beginning, you need consistency, and you should not be expecting monetary returns out of something that you just started. With this particular client, he hasn't been posting on Instagram in months. Like, of course, I'm not going to tell him you're going to make so much money in the first month. No, I told him we need to build consistency. Now, we did get our first money in booked calls after 11 days. That wasn't within the expectation I gave him. I just told him, hey, we're going to keep posting for consistency. And if we do get some win, that's awesome. But what we need to focus on is consistency and momentum. And then obviously analyze what performs best. Back to that point as well, because all the time, that's literally what making content is. Like, 80% of making content is like fucking researching what actually performs, not just for you, but your own niche. And then actually the 20% is maybe like sitting down and actually saying the words that you wrote down on the paper. Double down on winners. Look, this is what we do to this day. I just go back to what we posted maybe 3 months ago, and I see, okay, this shit has gotten the most leads. Let's double down on that. Let's repurpose it. Let's repost it. And perfection doesn't matter at first. Data does. That's what you have to remember as well. Don't try to make a perfect piece of content if you can't stick to posting once a day. That's dumb. Get the data. Get what people, gather data. What people want, what people don't want. Iterate on that. Step 4 is setting up a DM system. Now, remember how I said you want to squeeze out like as much potential and lead quality out of every single video? Well, that is what we are going to be talking about now. See, a lot of people will just like repurpose a video from long form and just post it, and it does nothing. Like, it gets views, it may get some people to reach out to you, you know, manually, but that's not enough. But you don't want to be relying on inbound leads, because that's what we were doing here. Like I said, we had a limitation where if people couldn't message us first, we couldn't message them back. So relying on people to message us first as inbound is very risky. A lot of you think that people who make 100K a month, they get the inbounds. They don't. They do warm outreach. They get people to interact with their content, and then they create a DM flow with ManyChat and a seller, which I'm just going to talk about in a second. And they get the seller to reach out to every single person who engages with their stuff, and they're getting the conversation. They qualify them, they book them on a call. This way, you're going to get significantly more conversations than if you were just like sitting there posting content and waiting for the people to come to you. That's never going to happen. So simple law of action. If no action gets taken, no result is going to come. That's what happens when you wait for inbounds. But if you message people warm outbound, you're gonna shorten the sales cycle that, you know, people need to take. Instead of it being a week, it's going to be like a day, and you're significantly going to increase the amount of conversations that you're getting. And obviously, volume negates luck and chances. And if you have more volume, then you're simply going to get more leads. That's just mathematically it. You have better chances and more chances of getting more closes. That's just how it is. So what we did for this particular client is we created a DM flow, where, or not a DM flow, a comment flow, where people would comment a keyword. And obviously, as I said before, they would get like a lead magnet, which is usually like some guide, a video on YouTube, whatever it is, right? And so this works very well. Like, we got 1,000 leads just off of that, right? And then you want to be responding to every single lead, which is, as I said, we didn't really have the luxury to do that because the seller couldn't access the main account for various reasons and various factors. But you want to be responding to every new lead. Every person that interacts with your content, they are considered a lead. So if they follow, boom, message. Obviously, you don't want to be following any account. Like, there's going to be a lot of accounts that follow you and they're just fucking bots. So you want to send those 50 to 100 to like the most qualified people. And fast follow-ups mean more sales. That's what you also got to remember. You have to be like, you have to be on top of this. You have to be fast when responding to this. And step 5 is systemizing it. Now, at this point, this particular client already has this systemized. But why am I saying this in this particular video? Because in this video, I showed you what you should be doing yourself in order to replicate the success we had for this client. But if you're going to be doing all this manually, you're genuinely like gonna fucking burn out. You're gonna hate it. You're not gonna be consistent. And if you're not gonna be consistent, it's gonna create a snowball of just bad results. And you're gonna think it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, you just don't have a team to support you. So once you're dialing in the little steps, like you've been consistent for 15, 30 days, you've been posting, you've been DMing people, you've seen how it goes, you've seen the conversations, you kind of know what people need to do, then you can start building SOPs and hiring slowly. And then your focus should only be, you know, recording and helping your clients. So at the end, there's this little like misery stage where you're doing everything yourself, including the social media. So it's kind of fucking struggling. And so you have to put so much more effort into, you know, getting the clients and helping the clients because you have, you know, you're busy on this end. It's kind of hard. You're going to have to do so much work. So you're kind of going through this building momentum stage, but then once you have the momentum, you can outsource it and it becomes so much easier, right? And then you can scale without burning out. So that is this very simple system that like we used, and I would actually use if we could go back like a few months ago. This is what I would do, especially this fourth step. You have the blueprint. You have the blueprint in your hands. This is pretty much what we would do. And that sums up pretty much everything. This is exactly the system we used to take this particular client from zero, big fat zero on Instagram to getting 500,000 views in the first 30 days in engagement and over $15,000 new MRR added into the business. Now, after watching this video, there are two choices you can actually go and take. You can watch this entire video, you can take notes, you can test a bunch of formats and just hope something works. But at the end of the day, we both know that you're just too busy to actually be able to figure this out and do all the research and actually do everything correctly and literally perfectly. And this leads me to the second option, is you can have my team handle all of this for you. We're going to come into your business. We're going to research exactly what is going to work for your brand. And this is the stupid simple system that we use to add, in some instances, $100,000 in just 7 days for some of our clients. So if that's something you're interested in, you can find the first link in the description for my website. You can go ahead and see some people that we worked with, what kind of results we've helped them generate, and you can book in a call to see how me and my team can help you. That being said, thank you for watching this video. Go and crush it on social media, make more money, and see you in the next one.